Welcome to InRange. I have in my hands a blunderbuss. Some people might call it a musketoon. Reality is they're so similar in their application and purpose and design that you could call them either one. So do whatever you see fit. That said, I did do a video that was sort of a fun one recently about pandemic life hacks in which I shot a bunch of rocks and stuff out of this. And of course the lore of the blunderbuss is that you could feed it with anything in the field. And there's truth to that. You could put broken glass, nails, and rocks in this thing and it will fire and hit the target. And in fact, in that video, it did hit the target quite reliably. And in fact, with better accuracy than I would have expected. I didn't actually video the target. But I also don't recommend shooting rocks and nails out of your blunderbuss because with a brass barrel or a steel barrel, you're going to be doing wear and tear on that barrel. Now, how much that will impair your accuracy with what is a gigantic smoothbore thingamajig is up for anyone's debate, but it's just not a great idea. What I'm going to do in this video is actually load it a little more properly. We're going to do a powder charge. We're going to put a proper wad, a lubricated wad over the powder to cushion the actual projectiles. We're going to load it with 15 rounds of 32 caliber round balls, and then we're going to seal it off with just a big old piece of paper. Now, back in the day, how people did this varied wildly. Some people would use a wad between the powder and the balls. Some people would just put the balls right over the powder, and I can tell you I've tried that and the accuracy difference is dramatic, and we will show you that today. So for this first load, I'm going to go ahead and load powder, wad, balls, and then just top it off with some paper just to seal it off. And then we'll shoot the target from about 15 yards. Not great, not far, not that close. And we'll see what it patterns like. And then we'll do the same thing again without the under ball lubricated wad, and you'll see that it opens up dramatically. So let's go load it first of all. Yes, I'm doing this against the car. It's just easier that way. So we've got our 100 grain measure here, and we're going to load that up from my powder horn. Never charge your blunderbuss from the horn. It's a dangerous idea. Then we're going to go ahead and pour that down the barrel. One of the things about this giant funneled hole makes it much easier to load in the field. I've got 10 gauge shotgun wads. I'm going to drop one in there, and then we're going to seat that. And then we've got 32 caliber balls. We're going to put 15 of them in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then we're just going to take some paper, really, just some paper, rip it off, cram it in there. That's going to be our overshot wad. Good compression. All right, okay, we're out here at 15 yards getting ready to shoot, and I have charged the pan. I do want to show you how that should work, though. You don't want the actual powder touching the touch hole. You want to see there's an air gap between that and the powder in the pan. If you have this pan filled all the way touching the touch hole, it goes off like a fuse. It kind of goes boom, and you get this delayed ignition. You can still get that anyway, but if you bias the powder to the outside of the pan, like I've done here, it goes off in a flash and then shoots a jet of flame into the touch hole, setting it off much faster, which is a better, more reliable, and speedier lock time. So I'm going to close the frizzen, and let's go shoot the target. Wow, pretty nice pattern. Let's go take a look. All right, here we are at 15 yards. This is the pattern we got out of the blunderbuss with the lubricated wad between the powder and the balls, and it's actually pretty decent. I would think this is good out of a relatively modern shotgun with what you'd call low-grade ammo. Let's see what we got. 1, this is a double hit. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All 15 hits are on the target. That's pretty cool. Now, that's because there was a wad between the powder and the balls. Let's go load it up again without the wad, just the balls directly against the powder charge, and let's see what happens. Okay, I didn't actually show loading it this time. It's kind of a lot of work to move the camera, but I loaded this exactly the same way, but without the lubricated wad between the powder and the projectile. So we have powder, ball, wad. Let's see what we get. All right, it opened up quite a bit, as well as it looked like we got less velocity, because when you actually press against the wad, you're getting a better compression charge. Let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe 8. So out of 15, looks like 8 hits. They're a little fainter, but hopefully you can see them on the camera. If you can't, I'm pointing them out to you. And it took up most of the target, and we only got 8 of the 15 projectiles on the target. So having a wad between the powder charge and the projectiles makes a huge difference in any black powder shotgun, or a modern shotgun for that matter. But even back then with a blunderbuss, you can greatly increase your accuracy by loading it more appropriately and with a little more care. Let's say we don't have these Gucci shotgun wads, which you have to buy and lubricate. What if we just break some branches off local bushes and use them as our wads? Let's see if that changes our pattern. So first, powder charge. Okay. I'm going to literally take some of this bush, shove it down the bore as my cushion between the projectiles and the powder charge. I'm going to compress fit that nice and tight. Now I'm going to take my 15 projectiles. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. Now I'm going to wad it with more of that stuff. Just creosote. So this is a situation in which all I have is powder and ball, and I'm just using bushes for my wadding. Let's charge it and see what happens. This load is the one that is wadded with just creosote bush from out here in the desert. You could use anything like that, really. Anything you could find in the field should be able to be used as a wad, as long as it'll compress into the bore and retain the charge, which it does. But I'm curious about, will it cushion the projectiles between the powder and the projectiles like the lubricated Wonder wads did? Let's go ahead and see what we get. 15 yards. And you know what? It kind of did. Okay, that's freaking cool. I just used creosote bush as my wad between powder and projectiles wad, but also the wad for the entire charge, and it worked perfectly. That said, let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15! All 15 projectiles on the target using just creosote bush out of the desert. You could do that with any plant, really, as long as it'll compress and not burn. And guess what? Creosote bush won't, at least in these conditions today. So you don't need a fancy Wonder wad with lube on it if you can just find the appropriate bush out in the desert to load your blunderbuss with, and you can still have a reasonably reliable pattern with your 15 rounds of buckshot. I hope you enjoyed this video today. I had a lot of fun making this one. First of all, let me tell you that this is a lot of fun to shoot. If you have not enjoyed the wonders of black powder, I would urge you to do so. We're all hung up on modern guns all the time, and of course they're great, and I would not recommend this for any modern application except maybe for some kind of hunting if you really wanted to do it old school. But the reality is these guns are a lot of fun, and the getting used to how to use a flintlock or percussion or black powder or all that alchemy that goes with it is something that I find immensely enjoyable, and I want to do more of that on the channel and will be. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well, because it's only a viewer sponsorship that allows InRange to do this kind of content. This is not clickbait content. This is not stuff about gun memes. This isn't something about the most current events. This isn't something that's going to get a bunch of rage clicks or anything like that. This is just truly a love for firearms and history in a video, and hopefully you experienced that with me today. It is, again, like I said, completely Patreon supported. We have no sponsors, no advertisers, and we are proactively demonetized on YouTube. And this blunderbuss, all the powder and projectiles you saw today, were here and capable of being filmed because of viewer sponsorship directly. All of that was purchased with viewer sponsored money. Thank you for supporting this channel and keeping it alive, and hopefully you're enjoying the content as a result of that sponsorship. If you'd like to consider it, please do. You can find us at patreon.com/InRangeTV. If you can't, we do understand. Subscribe to one of our multiple distribution points. We're not just on YouTube. You can find them all at InRange.tv/watch. Thanks, and share with your friends.